Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Today I'm out on the water with Ryan Hall. Thanks for coming out here, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan is with RB Bass. You're also fishing the BAM tournament?
I am.
Yeah, I knew that, and that's why you're here. A couple weeks ago, you had a super respectable third place finish. You had the biggest bag of the tournament on your first day. How much? 27.8?
Yeah, 27.80, 27.90, something like that. Yeah.
28 pounds right now is a heck of a bag. So congratulations. I read your post-tournament comments somewhere, and I decided I had to call you because you talked about fishing this body of water exactly like how I like to fish it. Mm-hmm. And you keep the tides in mind, but what you said, you fish the water in front of you. And we're talking to a lot of anglers out there that are weekend anglers and a lot of anglers that are tournament anglers looking to climb up the ladder. So I want to really break it down, what you did, and give you a chance to tell everybody, kind of how you went about the 5-day tournament. A lot of big sticks were out here. It's not easy to win any of these tournaments, and you're always looking for that top 10 finish. In the way that these tournaments start, you have 2 days of practice, and then hopefully 3 days of competition. The first 2 days everybody fishes. Mm-hmm. The top 10 after the first 2 days go to the money round. Yep. So you're really looking to just make that top 10 and let the chips fall where they may. You obviously made the top 10 and you didn't come out ahead, but top 3. If you could do that every tournament, I'm sure you'd take that check, without even showing up.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, let's talk about what happened. You came up here, you had a couple days of practice. Did what was going on in your practice pan out for the tournament? I know that the weather went haywire, went sideways. Let us know what you did starting off the first couple days of practice, and then we'll work into the tournament. And hopefully you'll give us some insight on how you were feeling mentally. Were you catching fish? Did you have a plan in place, so on and so forth? So what'd you do to start?
So luckily, the Delta here is, I would consider, one of my home lakes or home bodies of water. Even though I do live an hour and a half from here, it's somewhere I've spent a lot of time throughout my childhood and growing up as an adult now. But luckily, since it is close enough to the house where I can fish it often, I had an idea of what was going on. I had a feel prior to the official practice. And basically what I learned was my normal stuff is not good right now. So
this is in practice.
This is it, yeah. And like the weeks leading up to the event, and like getting an idea of it. Now whatever I'm doing is not it. I only had 1 8-pounder in pre-practice.
Only 1 8-pounder, yeah. Okay.
Well, back a couple years ago, it's like by this time we'd all have a couple.
Right. So how was you had that first 2 days of practice? How was your mental state going into the first day of competition?
It wasn't, I wasn't like full confident. I wasn't a full high, but growing up as a baseball player, we learned to deal with the grind basically, and that's what fishing is. You were ready to go. I felt prepared enough that I throughout my practice and whatnot, I was going to be around fish. I knew I wasn't going to have trouble catching a limit, but it wasn't going to be the right size. So in practice, I had one area, or when I say an area, it was a very large zone of the Delta where I caught a 5.5 over here, and then I ran a few miles away and I caught a 6.5. And they set up, the watercolor was the same, the grass was good in both areas.
And what were you were looking, I know when we talked a little bit about it, you were looking for stained water. What was the clarity of the water you were looking for?
Dirtier than this. I would say, what it was probably, it was still cleaner than I would have liked. It was probably 22 to 24 inches.
About 2 feet viz.
Yeah, my ideal, I think that personally on the Delta, I like 16 to 18 inches of visibility. I like it dirtier. I don't like those fish to get a good look at me, and it also, when your baits go by, they eat it a lot easier.
And what was the depth you were looking for?
I didn't really have a depth. I found areas that had good grass, and I was one of my strategies, you could call it, is when I come out to the Delta and I'm trying to learn it, I learn it on a low tide.
Okay.
Even if I'm not fishing, I'm looking and driving around, and I know where good grass is, and I can tell that tule right there looks really good on a high tide, but I can see the mud 4 feet off the bank, and so I know it does not have the water on it on a low tide to where those fish are going to want to spawn on that or come in and out.
And you know, another thing, that's one thing that I always say with the upper division tournament anglers that separates maybe some of you guys from weekend guys or even some of the weekend tournament anglers. You guys spend a lot of time hunting for fish without fishing.
Yeah.
Finding these areas because you have confidence in your baits and your techniques. So once you see, I always, you know, the three big things are cover, bait, and you know, your timing after that is what's really important. But once you find those, you know, you can come back, or you don't know it, it's not a guaranteed, but you know you can come back and catch those fish. So you spend quite a bit of time just looking around, and I think you said that first day you hit that last fish, you had like 28 pounds. You spent the rest of the day looking around. You had your bag that day. You wanted to go look for new water. You didn't fish.
Yeah, I thought, you know, after I caught those fish to put me up right around 28, I knew I was like, I'm leading this thing right now. And I wanted to try to find more like it, and I was also trying to get my co-angler to get on a couple just so he could weigh something in.
Did you do that because you didn't want to catch more fish out of the area that you were in so you can come back the next day and clean up your scraps, kind of?
Yeah, so basically at that time, you know, and it was a mistake. Looking back on it now, I shouldn't have done it, and I wouldn't do it again. But you know, at the time, and I knew the Delta, it's hard, a 4-pounder is a good one, and that's hard to come by. And in that bag, I think I had, my smallest fish was like a 4 and a quarter. So I didn't want to burn up 3-pounders that I could use on day 2 and 3.
Right, and you said something, you admitted you made a mistake, and you had the biggest bag of the tournament at 28 pounds right there. The next day you came back, and what'd you have, 10, 9? 11 pounds. And talk about, ooh boy.
I know, that bedfish is going to get caught when we're done,
We've been watching a fish out here, and it just came up and did something over there, but we may have to cut this interview short a little bit. But for me, if I had 28 pounds the first night, I wouldn't have slept. Number one, did you sleep?
Oh, I slept like a baby.
Slept like, I probably wouldn't have slept. And the second night, when I went out and came back with 11 pounds, I wouldn't have slept again because I would have been too happy to sleep. The other one, I would have been too mad to sleep. But you're even keel, you made the top 10, and that's what you were looking for. And you're going to let the chips fall where you may, or where they may. Did you have a plan for that third day? And you bounced back with 17 pounds the next day, with somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, I forgot what it was. I think it was closer to 15. I don't remember if it was 15 and a half or 14 and a half.
Yeah,
I was right in there.
It was really, it was tough, and you were dealing with Ken Ma coming in to weigh in. That after you were dealing with Ish Monroe and Tilbury. Is it Tilbury?
Yeah,
is that
Phil. Yeah.
Phil ended up winning it with the big bag on the last day, but it had to be pretty nerve-wracking. Did you have a plan going into that third day?
After day 2, I really got the sense that those fish that were in that area, they were reliant on the lower tide and the wind, and I didn't have either going into day 2. And so after day 2, I knew day 3 is only going to get worse. It was going to get calmer, and the tide was going to stay higher. So I made a decision, and on no practice at all, I ran to an area that I grew up fishing. My first memory in life is fishing in that slough. And I used to go there with my dad, and I'm like, this is my playground. I've never fished a tournament in this area. It's where I come on weeknights just to have fun.
Yeah.
And I just said, if I want to catch them, I want to catch them here. And I know where they live here, and it's probably not going to be 22 pounds. It could be. I've caught 30-something pounds out of there, but realistically, I was going to be on 15 to 17. And I just went there, didn't care about the tide, just like I did when I was fishing out of my 12-foot aluminum boat. I just went fishing.
Yeah.
And, I just paid attention. Water comes up, water comes down, and, scrapped it together and had, 15 or so pounds or whatever.
So you're telling them they got a chance. You don't have to run the tide. You come out, fish what's in front of you, and hunt for spots, and know that spot at high tide, know it at low tide, and just change your techniques. Well, that's I really like having folks like you on that are successful, and they'll tell everyone out there that sometimes it's just your day, or it's not a special bait that you're using. It's maybe doing a little thinking and just keeping confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what you did, after a 27-pound bag, you dropped down to 11, and, you came back and did what you had to do. So it's a lot of pieces to that puzzle that you have to put together, but sometimes you just go out and fish what's in front of you.
Yeah, it's all you can do sometimes.
So as I'm looking over here, that fish has rolled another time or two, so I think it's going to be time to cut this dang video down. And Ryan, thanks so much for coming. I know you had to come down from Sacramento. You got a lot of things going on. You got any sponsors or anyone you want to talk about?
Yeah, definitely. You know, In Deep on the Delta is a Delta-based, channel. You know, if you guys, I work with a handful of companies, but some really good local ones. You know, and I'm a big proponent of supporting the local
absolutely.
companies.
Yep.
I work with a tire shop down in Stockton called PK Tire Pro. It's about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, I know where that PK.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm actually taking my truck there in about a week or two to get new tires on the truck, lift, alignment, and new wheels. So, but if you guys are in the market for anything like that, PK Tire Pros, or for all your tackle needs, whether you're getting Picasso Shock Blade Pros like I was throwing through that BAM tournament, Fisherman's Warehouse has everything at all four of their locations.
We talk about Fisherman's Warehouse all the time, one of the best shops in Central California.
Absolutely.
And obviously you want to catch Ryan at RB Bass. You've got lots of information and interviews and things on that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, let's get out and start fishing. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and if I need to, I'll ship them over to Ryan, and we'll get those answered for you. Good luck out there, guys.